It's someone less experienced than you, about to get promoted, and you're wondering why your extra long working hours aren't translating into promotions or recognitions that you deserve, then this video is for you. You see, there are three tiers of value every employee at work delivers, and most experienced professionals usually get stuck in tier one. At times, they spend massive amount of their careers, not even few years, 10, 15 years or more, without realizing the other two tiers exist. The truth is, when I understood this concept, I went from answering phones in entry-level roles to becoming a product executive, earning more than 250K a year in a tough economy and surviving 12 plus layoff in 15 years of my professional career. In today's video, I'm going to take you through step by step using a very simple framework to help you understand what are these value tiers are and which tiers you are currently in and how to move up without adding any more extra working hours in your day or week. If you're finding this helpful so far, please be sure to gently tap on the subscribe button. It really helps this brand new channel to put up more content just like this. Now let's get to it. Let's start with tier one. Value. In this tier, you deliver value through your skills, expertise, your output, and getting actually things done. You become the person that people can count on and rely upon. You're competent and you take real pride in doing the job well. Now, let me be very clear. These tiers matters. No company can get anything done and become successful without having people operating at this level. But the problem comes down to when you are someone at 10 years mark and you're still grinding at this level, you need to ask yourself, is it something you're continuously delivering value or you're just stuck in a vicious loop? Now, the value tier is the baseline in the marketplace. This is what any employer would like to pay for a similar type of expertise, but it's not the ceiling. Being excellent at your job and getting things done gets you hired and keeps you safe, but that doesn't necessarily get you promoted in longer period of time. So if you've been head down, doing the great work, doing the grind for a longer period of time, and you're watching your colleagues climb up the promotion ladder, this is one of the main reasons. You have mastered this tier that marketplace already set up a baseline for. Beyond that, doesn't matter how much more work you do, it's not going to translate into the outcome that you are seeking. Here's the trap most professionals fall into. The moment they sense they're stuck, their instinct to go double down more work hours, double down more hard work, taking up too many projects, producing way too many outputs. But at this tier, working longer hours and more hard work, not necessarily translating to promotions. For you to get a promotions and move up to the next tier, it requires a different strategy. It requires you to become a different kind of a professionals, not the same version of you that is exhausted, tired, and overwhelmed. That brings to the tier two, visibility. This is where you stop becoming the person who's only known for getting things done. Instead, you also become the version that right people start noticing. And there is a psychological reason why this particular tier exists and why it works, and that has nothing to do with your performance. In 1968, a Stanford psychologist identified a specific kind of neurological bias during their research study. It's known as mere exposure effect. In simpler terms, it means people tend to develop a preference and bias towards something they see it repeatedly, not because they are different or better, but they are familiar. And the same neurological bias is running on your boss and leader's mind when they're thinking of next promotion cycle. Two employees, same job responsibilities, similar performance, but one keeps showing up in different cross-functional meetings, initiatives, having a conversation with the right leaders, with the right stakeholder within the organization, making their work visible. And the other employee, head down, almost invisible to the people and sometimes even to the teams outside of their own remit. So when it comes to promotion decision, who do you think the leader going to prefer? Is that the employee with the visibility and presence or the one without it? The fix is simpler than you think. You need to become the professional who have a strategic presence, not from a bragging point of view. But if you are someone who only are minding your own work and not really having your presence and outcomes visible, you need to proactively identify the opportunities where you can contribute beyond just your own remit or your own team's remit. Proactively, you need to start invest in time and energy to start a professional engagement with your key stakeholder and leaders, the one who has the decision powers. And this is the identity shift between tier one and tier two. When you stop becoming the person who's simply good at their work, instead you become the person who's known for their specialization, the right leaders and the stakeholders. Now you're visible, But there's still one more problem that this tier particularly has, and that gets addressed by the next one. So let's have a tier 3, voice. This is the highest tier of value in any organization, any industry, any size of the team. Now, this value tier explains why less experienced, sometimes even less technically skilled colleague of yours getting promotions when you are getting passed on. Majority of the time, it is not about their actual work output or performance. You might ask, Taz, what's the secret sauce I'm missing right now? Let me tell you the secret sauce. It comes down to the way they communicate their work contribution and the impact they are delivering. That lands in a way among the right people who makes those promotions decision. Here's the reframe that changes everything at this tier. Most of us are great at communicating what we did brilliantly, all the activities we have done, what are the obstacles we have overcome, where we had to go above and beyond, and so forth. And leadership honestly care less about all the activities, more about the outcome. AKA, they don't want to hear from us what are the output we produced, but what impact it delivered. An example, let's say you're contributing to an analytics initiative where you're working towards the objective to improve overall workforce planning process. Now, instead of saying that, hey, I spent last 3 weeks working through the data quality issues, I developed this 3 dashboard, ran the weekly checking, and so on and so forth, instead of listing down the task, start listing down the outcome. I help workforce planning team to reduce their monthly report preparation time in half. As a result, now they are getting 2 hours per person back every single week. That's the time now they can invest into doing other business value-added activities instead of wasting their time in performing inefficient processes. The communication structure is simple. Shift from only communicating your task and activities. Instead, start communicating the outcomes that you're delivering, the problems you're solving, the cost you are saving, and the revenue that you are helping the organization to earn. Practice communicating in this style from today onwards and see how it lands for you. By now, if you're honest with yourself, you probably know out of the 3 tiers where currently you're operating. So if you identify yourself that you are right now in tier 1, value tier, working longer hours or taking more initiatives on your plate isn't going to translate you into promotion. You need to start intentionally developing your strategic presence one conversation at a time. Now, let's say you're visible, but you're still getting overlooked for promotions. In that case, I really encourage you to reflect and assess very carefully where in your day-to-day work you are missing the mark on communications in the similar format that we have shared earlier, or where you're simply letting go of the opportunity that you're not simply taking advantage of. Assess carefully whether it's your team meetings or a morning tea with your stakeholders, or simply your all hands or town hall in your organization. Start taking advantage of all those opportunities that simply you're just keeping a blind eye right now. So far, you can clearly see none of it requires additional work. It's actually opposite. Instead, it requires you to become a different version of professional at each tier, not the exhausted and tired version of you currently. After spending 15 years in various leadership roles in fintech, I've seen over and over again across many promotion cycles when experienced and competent people get passed on, not because of their performance, but because they're not visible or they're not communicating in a language that decision makers understand and they respond to. Now I have given you the framework. Use this framework to observe carefully. Next time someone around you getting promoted, you'd be able to easily map out of the 3 value tier which one they're operating at. And let us know in the comment section below if it's landing for you. Now you have seen it. I can promise you, you won't be able to unsee it. This video was helpful. Please consider subscribing. It really helps me to reach out to more people just like you. Until next time, I'm rooting for you. Keep showing up for yourself. Take care. Bye for now.